Hi, thanks for joining the press conference. I've got something really exciting to announce. For many people, they may not be aware, in the group of 21st century companies, we have a range of companies, predominantly an education company with the mission to provide a modern day education for the 21st century to replace the outdated 19th century education most of us unfortunately got at school. But a part of our group of companies is to provide services to help our investor clients to take action and implement many of the leading edge strategies we provide at 21st century. And one of those divisions that we started 2 years ago was 21st Century US Property, a service to not only educate Australians and New Zealanders and effectively people from around the world how to safely and effectively go about investing in the US property markets, considering it was decimated after 2007 with the credit crash. And to also have the service where their hand is held to source effective real estate that produces returns of our mandate in 21st Century US Property for our buying team, acquisition team of US properties has been they have to produce a 15 to 20% rental return for our clients, and that's our mandate for the properties. What we're excited to announce, and my team spoke to me recently about, Jamie, what if we were to give away an entire US property as a competition leading up to the end of this year? And I decided to agree to it. I thought that would be pretty cool if one of our clients could actually win an entire house and an entire US property and start or add to their investment portfolio. So at 21st Century US Property, we're excited to announce right now that we are launching come September 1st a campaign where you'll have the opportunity to win a US property by becoming a 21st Century US Property member. I'll take any questions there may be on this particular promotion.
Do you know which city this property is going to be in?
Yeah, what's good about this? I mean, you could say, well, what if it's a property that's in Detroit or somewhere like that where you don't particularly want to own property? No, the property is actually going to be in the city of Phoenix. And for those who know anything about the US property market, Phoenix is actually rising in capital growth already now. We've actually stopped buying property in Phoenix, not because we don't love it as a city, but simply the prices are rising, it's getting too hard to get stock. And that's why investors are snapping up a lot of the stock that's left. So it is a property in the city of Phoenix in Arizona, America, which we rate highly as one of the best cities right now as far as a bounce back recovery city for capital growth, not just for cash flow returns.
Jamie, will the property have any debt on it?
Good question. I'm sure most people prefer if it doesn't. No, the property will be unencumbered, so the person that wins this property will own the property outright. That means their rent they get is theirs. There's no debt to pay. There's no debt to finance or apply for. It's a fully paid off US property in the city of Phoenix.
Is it true that everyone will have a 1 in 100 chance of winning this?
Yeah, I imagine if you take, people might buy lotto tickets every week, which I highly don't recommend if you want to become wealthy. But you might have, if you buy lotto, what do you got, 1 in 1 or 2 million chance of winning? We are capping this promotion to a maximum of 100 people per property. If there's more than 100 want to go into it, we'll give away a second property. So the chances are you will have 1 in 100 or greater chance of winning this property. So it's not some pie in the sky, hope you win lotto. It's a 1 in 100 or greater chance that you'll walk away with a US property fully paid off in a market that's rising in Phoenix.
When will the house winner be drawn?
Good question. What we're planning, this will be drawn on Australia Day, January 26, 2013. So that's like effectively 6 months away. So it's people have the chance leading up to then, and we'll draw the winner on Australia Day. I think that's appropriate for someone on Australia Day to win a US property.
And what's required to qualify?
Yeah, and it's quite simple. So the competition is open to two groups of people. Our existing 21st Century US members, they can enter. For them to enter, they simply have to secure 2 US properties between now and then. But for brand new people to enter this competition, all they have to do is become a 21st Century US Platinum member. Anyone that does that between September 1st and January 26th will go into the draw to be 1 in 100 chance of winning a US property fully paid off. So they simply have to become a 21st Century US Platinum member.
Why are you so bullish on US property?
I've been bullish for a couple of years. A couple of reasons. One, I mean, I'm a contrarian investor. Like Warren Buffett. I mean, Warren Buffett is bullish on US property. He's come out and said, he's investing in US property. He wishes he had a mechanism to buy, hundreds of thousands of houses, and he would do that. Donald Trump is bullish on US property. John Paulson, who bet against the property market and made for his hedge fund billions of dollars, betting that it would crash, is now betting that it would rise. So I'm not the only one that's bullish on US property, but I've been saying this and been an advocate of US property well before. Now it's becoming very common and mainstream that, yeah, okay, finally we accept that US property is a good investment for Australians. But when I first started talking about this, most people were very anti-US property. Why am I bullish? Well, I just understand the fundamentals of property. If you can make 15, 20% rental returns, who cares if the property never recovers in value? You will still make money if you're doing it safely and effectively like we teach people to do at 20th century US property. So that's one of the reasons. Two, I believe there will be capital growth in the future. The massive excess of stock, surplus of stock there's been in the US is quickly and rapidly disappearing, as reported by Bloomberg Newsweek several times in recent months. Prices are rising in many key markets, and that's been evidenced in the mainstream press now. So we're already seeing some capital. As I mentioned, Phoenix, for instance, we stopped buying in there because prices are rising too much to access stock. So I'm bullish for those reasons. Also, our high Australian dollar. Our dollar is what, $1.04 at the moment. It's likely to stay above parity now for some time. So because of that, we can get houses in the US at a significant discount. I remember being in the US in 2000. Our dollar was 47 cents to the US dollar. Now it's $1.04. So that's another reason it's a good currency hedge. Also, if you can buy an asset, and if people understand the word intrinsic value, if you can buy a home that was $100,000 or $200,000, if you can buy that same home for 50%, in some cases 60% below what it was, and below replacement value, I don't believe the US property market is going to boom like it did in the past. It doesn't have to. If all these houses get back to the original replacement value, once the housing surplus runs out, that's likely to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. You have an asset that could double in value, just back to normal standard replacement values. That's another good reason to do it. But what if the US dollar crashes? This is what some people are worried about. What if the world ends, basically? You can't always protect against that. But if you're not in this market, you're missing out. What I love about this, and one of the reasons I started this company, was to help people, the average Australian in particular, that perhaps can't afford to get into an Australian property, to start a property portfolio. And the US provides that as long as they're smart, do their homework, or have a company that knows what they're doing, that can hold their hand and make it happen for you. We have clients now that don't even have to leave their lounge room, and they can have a US property sorted for them, getting 15, 20% returns. You can't go to a financial planner in this country and sign up for a 15, 20% return per annum secured by real estate. It just doesn't exist, but you can do that in US property. Now, a lot of people are investing into US property funds, which is great. However, you will get about 8% return, where if you're doing it through 20th century US property, the reason we don't have a property fund set up, because we'd make a lot more money if we did, but our clients wouldn't. If you can make 15, 20% return and having it done for you through 20th century US property, why would you go into a US property fund and only get 8% with no leverage? That's why I'm bullish on US property.
What do you say to people who are skeptical about investing in US property from Australia and the horror stories that some people have encountered trying to do this?
Yeah, I mean, there is horror stories, and like doing anything new, you can make mistakes. So I've often said that for the average person, no, it's probably not a good idea, because they're trying to do it by themselves. One, the time costs, and if they don't know what they're doing, they're likely to get ripped off, or they're likely to be like that poor Australian investor that bought a property in Detroit, and then he went to collect the rent and he was shot dead. I mean, there is real horror stories. And so, you've got to know which cities, which suburbs. It's like anything. I mean, if you were an American investing in Australia, and someone told you years ago to buy in Broken Hill, when Broken Hill was double the population, and you didn't know it was declining in value and was going to drop to half its population, you wouldn't buy property there at that time. If you knew that. People and Australians have bought property in Buffalo, a city that was 700,000, has dropped to half its population. Common sense would dictate you don't buy in those cities. But a lot of people have been misled because there's a lot of property spookers out there that are just after making money. They don't know how to educate people. They're not interested in that. They're just interested in flogging property. So you have to get educated. That's what we provide at 21st Century Education and 21st Century US Property. And you probably need a service where someone's going to do the hard work for you. And that's also what we provide, and that's why it's been very successful. There is horror stories. You have to overcome those. I've made mistakes. I've learnt the hard way, but why repeat why make those same errors when you can borrow the mistakes, learn off the mistakes we've made, and have it done for you in an effective way. So you can overcome those things. You've got to look at, there's horror stories if you buy property in Australia as well, you've got to realise. The cost of paying stamp duty in Australia, people can pay cash for a US property. What the people pay, people say it's risky to invest in US property. They'll go out and buy a car, which is a guaranteed loss in 5 or 10 years. What's your car worth? But a US property in 5 or 10 years, what's it worth? Even if it didn't rise in value, is a safer investment if it's done smartly than buying a car. So risky compared to what is what I would say. It's up to people. I'm not going to convince people to buy US property. It's up to them to be smart enough to recognise opportunity. I've recognised the opportunity. I'm profiting from it. There'll be a lot of Australians that would love to do it, but they're too busy working, or they're too busy to go over there and do the homework. Well, that's where you need a service for someone to do it for you, so you can continue on with your current life, but build on the side a safe, secure US property portfolio, which can set many people up for retirement. So there's no further questions. Yes, it's true, 21st Century US Property will be giving away an entire US property fully paid off come Australia Day, January 26th. The competition starts September 1st, 2012. 1 in 100 chance or greater of winning a house. That's pretty exciting. We're excited to announce that competition, and we look forward to giving a US property to the winner in coming months. Talk to you soon.